Every journey begins with a choice: to listen to the voices that hold us back, or to the ones that push us forward. Today, I invite you to walk with me, to discover the courage and love that shaped my path. No matter where you start, you have the power to change your story. I was born between two voices, one soft and loving, the other fierce and free. One came from my father's humble home, the other from the towering gates of a mansion I only visited on Sundays. And every Sunday I felt like I was crossing into another world. My biological father, whom I now call Poor Dad, though not because of his soul but his mindset, was a school teacher, a man of principles, of discipline, of routine. He believed in certificates, in working hard and retiring quietly. He wore the same brown coat for years, the same shoes, polished every morning with a little water and newspaper. He was the kind of man who woke up before the sun just to pack my lunch with love, who saved every coin so I could go to school, who never raised his voice, but whose silence could break you. He loved me. I never doubted that, but he feared the world. He feared losing what little we had. Get good grades and a good job will follow. He believed life was a straight line: study, work, retire, die. Then there was Rich Dad. He wasn't my real father. He was my best friend Eli's dad. But over time he became something more. He was wild in his thinking, bold in his talk. He never wore the same clothes twice. He didn't believe in job security. He believed in creating your own table when no one invited you to theirs. Fear is the chain that keeps poor people working for the rich. Break the chain. I met him when I was just 9. And I remember sitting on his balcony, confused by his words, yet curious. He handed me a dollar bill once and said, "This isn't money, this is a tool. The poor work for it, the rich make it work for them. Which one do you want to be?" I didn't have the words then, but I knew I didn't want to see my mother cry over unpaid rent again. I didn't want to watch my father break under the weight of responsibility he could never afford. I wanted freedom. Not just for me, but for them too. The moral of my story is this: you are not defined by your circumstances, but by the choices you make and the courage you find to change. If you believe in the power of love, courage, and transformation, join me on this journey. Subscribe now, and let's inspire each other to break our own chains. When I was 15, my life split in two. That was the year my father lost his job, downsizing they called it. It was the first time I saw him break. I did everything right, I did everything they said. I started skipping lunch at school so my younger siblings could eat. That's when I started going to Rich Dad more often. He gave me books: Think and Grow Rich, Cash Flow Quadrant, The Intelligent Investor, books my father would have called nonsense. But in those pages I saw doors, windows, whole skies. At 17 I started my first business. It was tiny, just printing and selling customized notebooks. I made my first real money, 500 shillings profit. "You're neglecting your studies," he said. "What if the business fails?" But he didn't understand it. This was my future. That night I heard him arguing with my mother. I cried myself to sleep. At 19 I moved out. Not out of hate, but out of necessity. I needed space to grow, to fail, to rise. Rich Dad offered me a job as an assistant in one of his startups. I took it. I worked 16-hour days. I fell asleep on office chairs. I lost money. I made money. I learned to pitch, to negotiate, to fall and get back up. But all that time, a part of me missed my father. The man who once held my hand across puddles, who taught me how to read. The man who gave me love even when he couldn't give me much else. One day I called him. I said, "Dad, Good. I hope you have a backup plan." My heart broke all over again. At 22, I hit my first major breakthrough. A tech solution for small businesses took off. Investors came. I made my first million. And you know what I did? I bought my parents a home, paid off their debts, took my siblings to school. When I handed my father the keys to the new house, he cried. Not loud tears, quiet ones that slid down his worn face. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you found a path I never could see. I hugged him tight and whispered, "You weren't wrong, Dad. You gave me the heart to survive. He gave me the eyes to see. I needed both of you." A year later, my poor dad passed away. A stroke, no warning. I held his hand as he faded, and all I could think about was how much I loved him. And at his funeral, Rich Dad stood next to me, holding back tears. "Your father was a good man. The world needs more men like him, and he raised a lion." Now I teach. I go back to schools, to dusty classrooms with broken chairs. I teach kids about money, not just how to count it, but how to respect it, multiply it, and never let it define them. I teach them about two voices, the voice of love and the voice of courage, because in my heart I carry two fathers, and between their voices I found my own.